Fort Mac is one of the most beautiful places in Canada. 88,000 people, surrounded by the boreal forest, an outstanding sense of community.
The wildfire west of Fort McMurray grew overnight, but it has been kept in check and away from town by overnight dozer work and ground firefighting efforts.
The 3rd of May, the community of Fort McMurray was surrounded by 4 different fires.
A clear day, blue sky, fire crews were doing their thing, water bombers had kept it at bay, and that's what we were hearing.
Acklands-Grainger has had roots in Fort McMurray since 1974. We have a very important purpose, and that is to keep Canadian industries running and their people safe.
I got my little one to daycare a little bit early and into the office. You know, we're gonna have to monitor the fire, continue to keep our team informed as to what was going on with the fire, but at that point, we really didn't expect what eventually was the outcome of that day.
The city of Fort McMurray is under a mandatory evacuation order.
We started hearing on the radio, winds have changed.
You know, at that time, we could see some concerned team members.
My kids had been texting me, Mom, they're evacuating, go home, get out of there.
And I said, okay, let's get everybody together in the back of the warehouse and say, this is what's happening. Stood around in a circle. We said, make sure, get yourself home safe.
Everybody kind of hit panic mode. We had people almost running away from the group because they needed to get home or worried about picking up kids.
At that point, we decided, everybody go home.
I got home, I had 15 minutes in the house. The police were going around and saying, get out now. The grass was starting to catch fire, flames coming toward us, just black like it's nighttime. I don't even remember driving. I just was like on autopilot.
Driving out of the city was apocalyptic. Flames, 50 feet high.
And I'm by myself, I'm panicking. I've never been so scared in my life.
Stop, take a breath.
88,000 people to head down the highway and get to safety. All I'm hearing is exploding gas tanks, police on every corner.
I just don't know how it got that out of control that quickly.
And it was a disaster that, you know, not in my lifetime I thought I would ever witness.
I knew that we were going to be back, and we were going to be back quick.
So Mother's Day was the day we came back to Fort McMurray. My wife's 3rd Mother's Day. Okay, hold on a sec.
As a wife, it was terrifying to know that, you know, the fire is still raging in town and here's your husband on the ground. At the same time, we were proud. We knew that it was where he needed to be.
A little bit of a tough day leaving, of course. It's a day you always want to spend with your wife.
Got the call that we were going back up, and I wanted to be part of that.
We're doing something to make the community better. We're here to help the people get the supplies they need so they can save our town.
Made me very proud to be part of this team.
We met in Edmonton. The order had already been placed within the distribution center. It was supply run and go.
We have a history of supporting, unfortunately, a lot of tragedies over the years, and as such, we received an essential services status.
We are very uniquely positioned in our inventory to help supply that rebuild. We were shipping product within hours to our team members on the ground to help support the blaze.
Closer to Fort Mac, we started to see countless numbers of police vehicles. It was drifts of smoke coming across the highway, trees still on fire.
Driving back in was probably one of the hardest things I'd ever done. You're driving down the road and there's like literally nothing. And just knowing so many people have lost everything. And I bawled because I thought of my kids' baby pictures that I didn't grab.
You almost felt guilty because your house was still standing and so many of your friends, co-workers lost everything.
The place I was in burnt down. I had nothing but just what I had with me. Everything you own is just dust, basically, so I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't even know how to put it into words.
How do you pick up the pieces? Where do you start?
So So we knew coming into Fort Mac that our building was in pretty good shape and a safe place for us to work. Kind of started to sink in that we were here to do some really important work and help the community get back up and running, and there was definitely a sense of pride around that.
Once word got out, it got busy. We brought in a trailer and a half of material, and it was in, out, in, out.
You didn't get a ton of sleep. It was long days, long hours.
We're open 24/7. If they needed something, they could call us. Even if we're in our pajamas, we'd come down and open the doors and find what they needed. We knew it was important, and that's why we were here.
I would say on a normal given day, I don't sleep in my office, but there was 14 nights in the month of May and June that I did sleep in an office.
It was definitely like camping, but in your office.
The feeling at headquarters and at branches all around the country was a buzz. We were going to do whatever was required to get our community of Fort McMurray anything that they needed fast as humanly possible.
From a customer perspective, for them, they couldn't believe the service we were able to give them.
We had people saying, "Thank God you're here." Literally. All they're looking for is gloves, masks. They needed it, and we were here.
There wasn't one instance where we had to say no to a customer. It just speaks to the breadth and depth of product we have here at Acklands-Grainger.
We were extremely fortunate to have the team we had. A team that has looked at each other differently since.
When I came back, it was just like we hadn't seen each other for months, all hugging each other, glad to see everybody was safe.
I have an incredible pride for working at Acklands-Grainger. We care deeply about our people, our customers. Our team members give this type of effort every single day.
I feel a lot closer to a lot of the team members now than I did before.
We got to know so many people that still come back now and will know us by name and thank them for saving our town, and they thank us for being here to support them.
You get so much closer with these people when they come in and they start telling you their story. And there's people that are a lot worse off than I am, and every time they come in they say, "Well, how are you making out? How are things going?" You get this connection with them.
This is a great community that lost about 2,600 structures. There's a lot of work ahead and a lot of rebuilding to be done.
There are many aspects to the support that we need to provide. The physical aspect, which is the immense damage that was caused. There's also the psychological aspect. Families and members of that community have been psychologically impacted by losing their homes, by losing their lifelong belongings.
When I think of the next coming months and years that it's going to take to rebuild this town, we're going to be here for the contractors and the customers and for the residents of Fort McMurray, and so that we can get this place back up and running as soon as possible and get people moved back into their homes.
10 years from now, the story I would paint for Gabby is a really terrible event bringing out the best in people in a community.
You look at everything that people did, the efforts of so many Canadians and people around the world that opened up their hearts and their homes. You're forever grateful.
On behalf of everybody in Fort McMurray, thank you.
We're still here, we're still strong. We're not going anywhere. This is home.